Hi guys, welcome to It Was Never Personal with Yummy Wilfred. This is Yummy Wilfred, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. I mean it when I say I don't really appreciate it so much for people, for everybody who's really tuning in. It was never personal. It has always been about love, laughter, music, dance, colors, role playing, balance, awareness, authenticity, not taking the ego too seriously, not taking life too seriously. It is all about realizing that this is a dream, an illusion that I get to co create with a power higher than me, you know, the power which is actually higher than both of us. So therefore, it was never personal. Tuning to get inspired, motivated, and mostly importantly, find ways to love yourself and do so with the laughter and joy. And remember, it was never personal. Yes. So in today's episode, I'll be really talking about um happiness as a role versus authentic happiness or true happiness, you know? So we're really talking about how actually we as people, we always pretend to be happy. We are actually just putting on a mask of, oh, I'm happy and all the everything of the sort. So tune in to really know more. It was it was never personal. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, in today's episode, like I said, the title is actually Happiness is a Role versus True Happiness. So, this comes up after I've been just realizing from being an observer that whenever I ask my friends or anybody who I ask, oh, actually, hi, how are you? And then people are just like, I'm fine, great. I am, or any other thing. But I feel like the most common thing is, I am fine. That is the most answer that I get from people. But usually because I'm sensitive, and again, I'm an observer. I can really tell between a very authentic I'm fine and something which is really like a facade or a false I'm fine. But really, before we even go deeper, the idea of I'm fine, what is that? I just don't get it. Whenever I really ask my friends, how are you doing? And then they say I'm fine. I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't care about you being fine. I really want you to really actually tell me what you've been experiencing. Yeah, tell me. If you say you are fine, why are you fine? That is actually what I'm really after. Because whenever somebody actually gets to ask me, "Oh, Wilfred, how are you?" I'll tell them, "Oh, listen, this is actually what has been happening," And I never really say I'm happy. Oh, I'm fine, because happiness is actually a superficial thing. Because it's really it is perceptional. It is perspective derived. It is because you're happy because you think this is happening, and but if anything, I'll be like, oh, I'm peaceful. But let me tell you why I'm peaceful, because one, two, three, four, five has happened, and I love it. And this, da, 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 da. But listen, although these five things have been happening, I have this one thing that I really couldn't get off my head, and that thing is really cracking me up. It's funny how our brain is actually, not our brain, but our ego, our mind is actually able to dwell so much on the negativity as opposed to the positive things. Like, if today I really wake up and I'm maybe let's say what do I like? I mean, I like a lot of things, but I really want to make it superficial, because let's say I wake up and then I really find out that my mommy or my daddy really just sent me maybe some money, pocket money to school. Maybe they gave me like 200 bula out of the blue. Oh my god, I'm so happy. And then just after that, my sister just made food. Oh my god, she just ordered pizza, and then it just came. Oh my god, I'm so happy for it. I mean, it's superficial. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And then in the midst of that, I get to really realize, I get to school, and then my friend brought me chocolates and whatever, like one, two, three. Oh my god, so grateful for them. And then along that, now I get to really learn that uh let's say my maybe my phone gets, yeah, my phone falls and then the screen gets cracked. I mean, the screen protector cracked, or maybe the screen cracked, and then the rest of the day is tainted with negativity, with fear, with restlessness, with anxiety, because now the phone is cracked. I mean, what? So it's like now I overlook the money in the morning, the pizza for my sister, the chocolates for my friends, the fact that I woke up, the fact that I was bathing with very warm, juicy water, the fact that I was able to get to school safe, the fact that my phone screen cracked, it didn't really go black, the ink didn't really go, like, the phone was not stolen, it's still there. But the fact that it's cracked, oh my God, my ego, it will just, the mind will still really get to really be so in this fear state of anxiety, sadness, whatever, and then it's like, oh my God, I'm not so happy. Yes, but then back to what I'm talking about. When somebody asks me, how are you, Alfred, I really give you the details of, um before I tell you how I am, I'll tell you, oh, listen, this is what has been going on. This okay, this is what happens. Okay, like, let me tell you, let me really tell you the tea. And then I tell you one, two, three, four, five. Usually it's things um that I really love. I mean, I know, like, most of my times I don't really like the past 2 months that we've been on holidays. I reflected yesterday and I only had three moments, which I call my low lights, but my highlights were so multiple. My three low lights were just like three in the two. So I was never really stressed. I was only stressed for three, I think three times, yes. But then the thing is that but the stress didn't really last for like a week or more than like the last one, yeah, the third one was the only one that really actually lasted a week because, oh my God, I mean, it really tainted with that thing that my ego is really identified to. So then, in overall, when you ask me how am I, I wouldn't really say, oh, just great. Couldn't be better, like most of us say, I'm just fine. I mean, that's a lie because the truth is that in many cases, happiness is a role we play as people. And behind that smiling facade, there's a great deal of pain, you know? And the pain usually you will see because you can sit with a friend and then I'm like, my friend, how are you? And then like, I'm fine. And then later when we get to talk, and then we just in class, or maybe we're just sitting over having lunch or whatever, and then they're like, oh my God, this is happening, I'm so depressed, and they're saying it in a funny way, like maybe the phone, let's say, oh yeah, maybe the mobile data subscription gets finished, or maybe that boyfriend is not calling them, or maybe that girlfriend is not calling them, and they're like, I'm so depressed. And then that's like a sign. I always say that, if you're really present when you really talk to someone, you can really read between the lines when somebody's actually saying, "Oh, I'm not, I'm deep, I'm depressed," saying it in a very funny way. I mean, honey, if with X-ray eyes, you see that, oh, actually, there's something that needs to be dealt with. They need to open up. You know, I get it. I know that there's this other common what is it? Common saying that don't tell people about your problems because they don't really care. I mean, I used to believe it, but then later on I'm like, no, 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 no. It's a lie. It's a lie. Actually, it's a lie. And number two, it's a fear infused mentality, because it says what? Oh, nobody cares. You are alone. Yeah, it's like, hey honey, oh no, truth be told, I care. Whenever I ask my friends, how are you doing? I care. And I think maybe because, I think maybe that person who came up with really was maybe looking for some solution, because usually when somebody's like, uh, like, yeah, we don't tell our problems to our friends, family members, and people of that sort, but we think that it's very fine to tell our problems, our perceived problems, yeah, because it's all really like superficial. You're thinking about it, yeah. So our perceived problems, we don't tell them to each other, but we prefer to tell them to that counselor, that therapist. You know why? Because we have been infused with this idea that, oh, actually, no, you won't get help from your friends, your family members, your whatever, but you will get it from a counselor. You will get it from a therapist. You'll get it from a priest. You'll get it from those people who were trained to do it. I mean, yes, superficially, yes, they will give you it. But I mean, x ray eyes, a real therapist's job, or a good therapist is actually that person who's able to listen. They listen, and then they just listen to you just saying all those perceived problems. And then if they respond to you, they actually ask you questions. How are you feeling about that? Oh, how did that make you feel? I mean, what was really going on? Like, it's really actually you doing the job when you get to therapy. That is why I think people don't really get, one of the reasons people don't really like maybe therapy sessions or counseling, because when you get there and then it really doesn't align with this idea that you have, that you're going to be spoon fed by this person saying, oh, actually, I see, like, do this, da, da, da." No, 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 they're going to listen. If it's a very good, I mean, if it's somebody who's really good at on their job, they will listen to you, but they will also ask you questions which provoke you to actually see that, oh, this problem is my perception. And then they give you that ability to be a magician, a miracle worker, and a miracle is just a shift in perception, because now you get to see things from another perspective, not from that one perspective which is usually like small-minded, narrow-minded. And then you get to go, oh, oh my god, because they it's like, honey, you still have the binoculars, but you just want to see the thing with naked eyes. I mean, x-ray eyes, you will see that actually this is not really a problem. There's something else. So with that, I'm saying that the reason why that person who came up with, oh, actually people don't care about your problems, so don't tell them, is because maybe they wanted solutions. So then, usually, we don't tell our friends, we don't tell each other how we feel, the thoughts and whatever that we think is happening, our perceived problems, we don't tell them to each other because we are seeking solutions. So then the thing is that because you're not going to give me a solution, why bother? Because you're not helping me. I mean, I get what you're saying, but listen, you telling me, I mean, there was this instance. I woke up, I was triggered, I was feeling my feelings, and then I was present. Present meaning that I was able to really actually allow myself to feel those negative emotions. I was just I was anxious, I was feeling mm, I was taken back to that story of a little boy who is unworthy, who's unloved, and who's not deserving, you know? And then and then I got to school. My friend asked me, "Oh, Wilfred, hi, Wilfred, how are you?" And then that day, I'm like, "Oh, my friend, sit down. I have to tell you something. I think I just, I'm not well because I have this thing. Let me tell you what happened." And then I told her, this one, two, three happened. And I mean, she didn't even say, "Oh, Wilfred." I was not looking for a solution. And the 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 sweetness of that was that I was able to take the lemon and squeeze it, and make lemonade. But it was like a shift in perception. Me telling her my perceived problems. And the amazing thing is that she didn't do a lot of talking. Whenever she talked, she would be like, but you can, but you know this, but you can see that, but I know what you mean. She'd be like, oh, she was just adding to what I'm saying. She didn't actually say, oh, no, and I was talking, and then later on I was like, no, not underweight. I can feel this sense of relief. Like I feel way much better. And after that, I left. I had a very amazing day, and that was because I opened up to my friend. I didn't say, hey, I'm fine. Let's just carry on with school. I mean, I didn't say that. I told her what is actually happening. And another thing that actually um is like an obstacle that we have really actually put into this play of us actually saying, "Oh no, I'm fine," playing the role of being happy, is because the ego doesn't really perceive or think of or consider vulnerability, the ability to open up, and really share those perceived weak points, because you think that telling me, because my ego thinks that if I tell my friends that, oh, actually, in the morning this happened and I feel this way, oh, I feel unworthy. And then my friend, it thinks that my friend will think less of me because of, like vulnerability is really seen as a form of weakness, as a form of don't do it because people are going to really attack you. I mean, going back to the last episode, we are one over here. Somebody really strokes on you and really hurts you, honey. It was never personal. Them thinking that they were actually hurting you, they're actually hurting themselves. Yeah, so open up. It's fine. I mean, I cannot say I cannot say a lot about this because vulnerability to the ego, to the mind, it will never make sense. The mind won't doesn't even want it to make sense. The idea that I can open up and let somebody in and see all of my flaws, perceived flaws, all of my things that I think that make me inadequate, all of those things that make me feel like I am not worth it, like, hey, come and see my weakness. The ego doesn't want that because the ego actually, first of all, thinks that those things are weaknesses when actually there is no weakness. So the idea of vulnerability as something which is actually weak is another thing that makes us not to actually be able to just open up and share those things to our friends. So in on top of not sharing because we want the solution, we also do not share because we think if we share with our friends, family members, or whoever, that we are being weak, you know. But it's all a lie. So then because if you believe these two things, then you will carry on and say, if somebody says, "How are you?" and then it's like, "Oh, I'm fine," playing the role of being fine. And then when you get home, it's like those people who you see, um, those people who will just be so happy, those people who are so always excited, always so whatever. And it's superficial. I mean, I can read through it. I can read through it only because number one, I've been there. Number two, I'm very aware. Not very, but I'm aware. When I'm present, I can tell that, oh, actually, hmm, my friend is really in a lot of trouble, but she's just smiling. The smiling is just a facade. Yeah. It was never personal. It was never personal. So the thing is that then now, because as a society or as people, we have really bought into this idea that we just have to really fake it till we make it, with the idea of just saying, you know what, even if I feel this emotion, I'm not really going to give it attention, which is really not a good thing for yourself because it is really detaching from yourself when you should be actually detaching from the emotion. But you will only detach from feeling unhappy or whatever by actually allowing yourself to go through it. And by going through it, you observe it. You know, you just realize that, first of all, if there is this unhappiness in you, first you need to really, yeah, the first thing is to recognize it. You recognize that, oh, I'm feeling whatever way that you feel. I always like to say that the easiest way is to go, do I feel low or high? Because when I say low or high, I'm talking about vibrations. It's like high vibration is characterized by joy, peace, and whatever. Low vibration is like fear, anxiety, and stuff of that sort. So then it's like, am I feeling low or high? Oh, I can see what I'm feeling. You recognized it. Number two, then now you have to just change your perception because perception is everything. Perception is everything. If you go by, I am unhappy, your mind will actually just will have to really validate your subconscious, which is actually believing that. Your mind, your brain will release those chemicals, those stress hormones, to validate your subconscious, your belief that you are unhappy, you know? So then your mind will release those stress hormones so that you get to feel it now, because that is the thought that you had and you believed the thought. And from believing the thought, your mind, being the alchemist of the chemistry of your blood or your body, releases stress hormones, and then the stress hormones will really trigger those organs which can really now give you that sensation of feeling anxious, whatever, all because that is what you believe. So from recognizing it, you have to change your perception, your belief system from the normal or the conventional, I am unhappy, to I feel unhappy. I feel unhappy. Yeah, it's very different. It's very different from I am unhappy. Because when you say I am unhappy, you are really identifying yourself with that emotion. You are attaching yourself to that emotion. You are detaching from yourself and attaching to the emotion. You see yourself as the emotion and you become it. It's like I am angry, and then you become angry. You become so rageful and nasty. But if you say, I feel unhappy, I feel angry, you know, because feeling means that you are allowing it to really move through you. You are allowing it, you are seeing it. You are like that camera, that you're like that camera which is actually scanning through it. You are not the anger, you're not the emotion, you're not the unhappiness, but you are just that thing which is feeling the unhappiness. And that's the truth, guys. That's the truth. We are not our emotions. So from that point of view, from recognizing it, changing your perception from I'm unhappy to actually saying I feel unhappy. Number two, Number three, I mean, now you have to be in awareness of it. Recognize it, acknowledge it, recognize it, change your perception, and then become the observer, the witness of the emotion. You know, and it sounds mystical, it sounds unreal and whatever, but it's like right now I feel so vibrant. I feel right here. So I know how I'm feeling. So one way in which people can or one way in which I myself, I really practice this act of, or this practice of being the awareness of my emotion, is that I usually go inside my body, and then I'm like, where in my body do I feel this unhappiness? And usually it's in my chest, my heart, my stomach. And scientifically we have like this proved, because whenever we are under stress, you know whenever we are under stress, because the gut area, the intestines and stuff of that sort, the gut area, because it is the primordial, it is the number one, uh it has like a lot of blood distribution to it, because it controls a lot of things. Yeah, I was about to say shit, but yeah, it controls a lot of shit. So so our gut, because it has a lot of blood flowing through it, but when we are under stress, what happens is that um the blood vessels the blood vessels in the gut constrict, and by constricting, they push they push the they push the blood away from the gut. Yes. And then that is why sometimes when you are nervous, you'll get the sensation in your stomach. Or maybe when you see your crushy, or your crush, or somebody who you love, or whatever exciting moment, you know and then you get those butterfly whatever, butterfly what, I forgot the name, but you get the butterfly sensation in your gut, because your blood vessels have constricted, pushing the blood out, to really let the blood flow to the voluntary muscles, as to speak, because it's like if you're under stress, then technically it's like, oh, I'm under stress, I have to really run, something is after me, That is actually what is happening. But then now, like I'm saying, you have to really pay attention to your body. When my body am I feeling this? Is it in my gut, my stomach, my heart, my chest, my arms, my brain, whatever, wherever it is? By doing that, bringing attention within, you are really being the observer of the feeling. And sometimes, sometimes it can really dissolve. It can dissolve, and then you realize, oh, okay, so this is actually not it. But from there, because it will actually just it will really dissolve, but sometimes it what is the word? It subsides, it subsides. It's like it calms down because when you are aware of your body and your emotion and whatever, it you calm down, and from that state of calm, when you have achieved that state of calm, you can then now go back to the drawing board, your consciousness, your mind, your conscious mind, which is actually thinking. Because the reason why you were unhappy or whatever or feeling low is because you had now uh you were now not conscious, but you were run by the subconscious mind. You were triggered, so your subconscious was really active, but then now you can be conscious, and then being conscious, you get to really sit there and you go, okay, so I feel this, I feel low, I feel unhappy, but why do I feel unhappy? Because now we know that all feelings come from thoughts, or all feelings flow from a thought. We know that, however you feel has nothing to do with the situation. When my phone is cracking, actually, when the house is burning, and I'm outside and I'm crying, I'm feeling low. I'm not really actually crying because the house is burning. I'm only crying because of what I think it means for me to have the house burning at that time, you know? So then, because I believe that thought which I have by me seeing the house burning, then I get to really experience these emotions. So, what I'm saying is that now, when you're calm, you get to really redirect the steps back to actually what led to me having this emotion. And those are your thoughts, your perception. Perception is everything. How you see situations is everything. So you go back there and you can retrace it and you go, oh, okay. So I thought that actually when this happens, then it means this. But in my case, a lot of things that happen and then I'm triggered. And whenever I retrace them, they go back to that idea which I had always believed as myself as a little boy who is unloved, unworthy, and whatever. Like this other time, I'm getting a call and my sister is saying, she's asking me, yesterday I was calling you and the phone didn't come through, but today I'm doing it. So what were you doing yesterday? What did you do? And I'm like, I didn't do anything. And then she was like, okay. But from that moment, I felt this energy, which was like this emotion, and I felt it right in my chest. And it has been happening so many times that I'm really aware whenever I really get to feel, I'm like, oh, I pick it immediately. And I was like, oh, okay, I feel it. I recognized it, and I was like, oh, I feel this, not I am this. I feel this. I am so anxious. I feel anxious right now, but I am so anxious. And then after that, I was able to really say, oh, I feel it in my chest, so I'm going to observe it. And then I calmed down, for sure, very quickly I did. And then I retraced the thought, and it went back to, oh, my sister saying, well, what did you do? And then me going, I didn't do anything. And then she says, oh, okay. But her actually asking me that to my inner child, it really triggered that idea of, so you don't trust me, so I'm not worth your trust. You see, which is really ridiculous because I mean, this girl, this lady, this woman loves me so much, and I love her so much. And within that minute, I was like, okay, fine, and I was fine. you know. So the same thing applies to when you get to meet a friend. How are you feeling? Listen, friend, this is what is happening. Let me tell you what happened. So I woke up in the morning, one, two, three happened, and I feel this, you know, but I don't know, but I feel this because I think this. Do you think? What do you think about this? Or maybe you don't even have to ask yourself, your friend, or your mom, or your family, or whatever, what they feel about this. Or just say, but this, just saying it out. The thing is that when you talk to someone and you say your thoughts out, because by that time, especially if you are conscious, meaning that you are present. If you're present, you'll be able to see the loopholes. You'll be able to see that, oh, actually, I was being superficial. Now, because you have the X-ray eyes, you go, "Oh my God, why didn't I see this?" I, I mean, this is just so ridiculous. Why am I even obsessing about this? Especially that we now get to be feeling unhappy or whatever because of things that, number one, we cannot control, or number two, we fail to actually get control of. You know, yeah. So that is actually something that I believe that we all have to really work on to. It was never personal. It was never personal. So, actions may require to be changed, or the situation may require to be changed, but sometimes we have situations which we cannot control. Maybe you are interacting with somebody and that somebody really fools up this things that really triggers you, and then you're going, and I do not like what you remove yourself from it. You don't stay there and try and defend yourself. I mean, don't do it. It doesn't work. I've tried it. It doesn't work. Most of times you just have to really remove yourself from it. Or if you can control it, then you really do whatever that you do, but you should only take that action after you have actually went through the all the layers of, oh, how am I feeling? Oh, okay. Oh, so this is what I thought, and then this is what happened. And then you can take action, because if you don't do it, the thing is that if you take action from a place of unconsciousness, meaning that you are not aware or you have not allowed yourself to feel your emotions, you are then responding from a subconscious mind, which is like the autopilot, from a reactive perspective, which is just, oh, you did this to me, like, it's reactive, and most of the times it's really fear infused. But if you are present, if you have allowed yourself to really actually feel the emotions, you will respond from a conscious perspective, which by that time you don't even hurt yourself. And by that I mean that you don't even hurt another person, because by hating another person, you also hurt yourself, you know? Yeah. But to end this, I'll say just open up, and if next time when somebody says, "How are you feeling? How are you doing? How are you?" Instead of saying, "I'm fine, I'm great, couldn't be better," or whatever, actually just explain what you mean. I mean, and we all have something happening, but like I said, this something happening is happening because it is something which we perceive. So we have perceived problems, perceived life situations which we perceive as problems. So then tell out those things that you perceive as your problems instead of saying, "I'm fine," because it gives you power. There's power over that, It gives you a lot of things. And it's everything. It's self love at the end of the day. It's self love. It's actually taking responsibility for your experience. It's being the co creator. It's actually just saying, you know what? I see what I did, but now I can change it. We think that we have to blame people for. I mean, somebody can tell me, "Oh, Wilfred, F you. You're so ugly." And then I feel like I feel justified to feel hurt by that, to feel angry by that, um, to feel very frustrated, to feel down by that. I mean, that's so ridiculous. I don't have time for I don't have time for I do not have time for you. I'm on the brink of enjoying this experience. So I do not have time to really actually cling to those thoughts which tell me that somebody saying I'm ugly means that I am ugly. Honey. Them saying that I'm ugly means that they think ugly is something that actually exists, but it exists only because they've seen it from themselves and they believe it from themselves. It's not something that I have, you know. So even if somebody actually does anything to you, I mean, anything, no matter how. The thing is that we have this moral level of judgment of saying, oh, this is wrong, this is good, this is right, this is bad, and then now we feel very compelled to actually say, no, I have to feel angry, I have to feel um unhappy, I have to. I mean, okay, feel it is fine, but do the work and really feel it and retrace it, you know, and see why you are feeling that emotion that you're feeling. And you would see that at the end of the day, you have that entity inside you which actually is addicted to feeling unhappy, to feeling stressed, to feeling negative, to feeling fear, to be fearful. You have that something which is actually addicted to that. And because you are not aware of it, you're not conscious, then you actually, that thing actually takes over you. It's like you're under some hypnotic something, or you're possessed by that entity, which is your mind, your ego, the mind made self. You know, you think that somebody actually saying saying something about your dress, about your body, because you think that you're your body. If somebody says, "Oh, you're ugly," then it's like, "Oh, they are attacking me because they attacked my body, but they attacked the body, not you. They actually attack themselves. You know, it's really it's way too much like that. So you feel it's okay. Do whatever you want. You want to feel any way how you want to feel unhappy. Feel it, but to feel it, you have to really actually retrace the thoughts that led you to feel it. So until you go, oh, actually, I feel unhappy because I believe this thought that makes me feel unhappy. Because I believe this thought that says this. And because this thought is of a low vibration, I get to feel an emotion that is of a low vibration. And then you get to see that you are actually responsible for whatever that you're feeling. You're responsible for your life, you know. It's as simple as that. So then if somebody says something that is actually um whatever they say to me, you know, I feel it, I retrace it and then I go, but I don't really want to feel this. I don't want to feel stressed, I don't want to feel unhappy, I don't want to feel sad, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to have fun. I want to laugh. So then for me to laugh, I have to actually grab and believe those thoughts which are of a high vibration, because laughter, joy and happiness are of a higher vibration, you know. And simple as that. Just simple as that, you know. Thank you so much. And with this, I'll say till next week. But remember, it was never personal. Bye!